We were after the most dangerous fish in the ocean. The big fish.
Now, you had a question.
Yeah. Are there any sharks around here?
It's the Shark Tank Radio Show!
Cozumel, Cozumel, Cozumel Radio.
Hola, tankers. Sharky here, and boy, howdy, what a big weekend. Yeah, this past weekend, as promised, I was in Arlington, Texas at the Convention Center for the Big O Texas Dive Show 2014, the biggest little dive show in the country. And it needs to grow a little bit. That's all I need to say. It just needs to grow a little bit. But what was there was just fantastic. A bunch of really good booths of really all over Texas, as well as Cozumel was very well represented by our buddies at Aldora Divers, who we're going to get into here a little bit about the Polar Express Part 2, as well as I finally, after all these years, got to meet Apple from Dive Paradise. The woman is a scuba diving legend, and for 20 years I've been going to the island and saying I'm going to stop by and say hi. So she had to come to Texas before I finally got to catch up with her. We had a lovely talk, and it was really, really nice to meet her, as well as met the guys at Scubadillo Dive Club here in Dallas, and just walked around and said howdy to people and handed out flyers. So if a flyer pops at your local dive shop for the Shark Tank Radio Show, it's probably somebody was at the scuba show this past weekend. So the main reason for my stop at the scuba show was to get together with Memo Mendoza, the general manager at Aldora Divers, who was supposed to be at the show this weekend. And lo and behold, I show up, and who is there but Dave Dillahay, the owner and proprietor of Aldora Divers himself. Yeah, he said he couldn't get Memo off the reef, which I don't blame the guy. It'd be hard to drag me off the reef to stand around in a booth for a weekend. So, I don't blame him. And so, anyway, Dave and I had a really good talk. Talked a little bit more about this Polar Express, as well as, about Aldora Villa Aldora, I should say, and just the whole operation and everything. And it's just, the more I learn about it, the more impressed I am. It's just a really good, well-run operation, and just verifies why they've been one of my top 5 recommendations for years on the scuba board. But I also met Steve Hazard, the man who Hazard Reefs is named after, and I had a little talk with him about this big Polar Express deal, and we're going to get into all that here in just a minute. Cozumel Radio and the Shark Tank are huge supporters of the Humane Society of Cozumel. If you haven't noticed, it's my pet project, if you will, pun intended. Right now, they have a whole lot of wonderful dogs and cats that desperately need forever homes. The shelter takes mighty good care of all these animals, but living in a shelter is not the way to go. You really need a home of your very own and a loving family to take care of you if you're a pet. Many of these little guys have had a tough life. They've been neglected, abused, and just abandoned for whatever reason. The Humane Society receives litters of puppies and kittens, and some of them get adopted early, some of them don't. It's sad to say, but some of these animals actually grow up and spend their entire lives in a shelter. So the shelter can only hold so many animals, and they need to move the animals that they have because they have new animals coming in all the time. So please, please, please be part of the solution. Browse through the animals and click on the name of the animal. And once you find one that's perfect for you, an online adoption form will pop up. You fill that out. The staff works out all the details and works very hard to make it as easy as possible to transport your animal to your home. They will actually ship the animal to you. This is very cool. And this is another thing. If you're not looking for an animal yourself, but you would like to help out, you can come down to Cozumel, and on your way home, you can be a pet escort. It is so easy and fun and very rewarding. The Humane Society sets up everything. They bring the animal to the airport for you, do all the paperwork. You get on the plane, you get to your final destination, you pass the animal off to its new forever family, and everybody is happy and smiles, and it is so, so cool. So think about doing that if you're coming down here on vacation. And also, we always take donations. always need money to keep this place running and taking care of those animals. So check out the animals. You can make a donation. You can contact them about being an escort through the website. And on behalf of all the people at the shelter, we thank you so very, very much.
This is Lisa from Dallas, Texas, and you are listening to the Shark Tank on CozumelRadio.net.
So in early 2013, Aldora Divers decided to start doing some explorations on the northwest side of the island. And it was all due to, over the years, they've talked to fishermen. Some of the fishermen have told them that there's some really nice looking reefs up there. You should explore them for new dive sites. And and it's nothing new for Aldora. They're one of the only dive sites that goes over to the wild side and dives over there, as well as, they've come up with some of their own dive sites, which other dive ops have too. Blue Angel, we've been diving a new place called Palancar Bolognese, which I think it's between Horseshoe and Caves, or Caves and Gardens. I'm not really sure. I'd have to look at my dive log to be sure. But yeah, anyway, it's so. The dive ops on the island are trying to come up with new dive sites to give the old dive sites a little breather, and that's why you conserve a reef is just get people off it for a little while. So all this is just positive news. And if you haven't listened to the first half of this program, go to the blog or YouTube channel and look up the first part of this, and I go into detail about the 6 reefs that they found up there: Barracuda Bolognese, Hazard's Reefs, Memmel's Wall, Dry Creek, Chino's Blue Coral, and Gato's Reef, with the semi-resident dolphin Nick up there. So you can hear all about that in the part 1 of the Aldora Polar Express story. But really, it's the shark caves that have gotten the big press on this, and why not? I mean, it's for the first time that I know of on this island, we are able to go and do dives on with sharks, with real sharks, as we say, not just nurse sharks. You can almost find a nurse shark almost every day on Cozumel, which is really cool, because I've known people that have dove for years and years and years and never ever seen a shark. So we're blessed that we can just go out there and even get to see nurse sharks at this. But now we get to see the beautiful, majestic Caribbean reef shark. And and there are some stipulations to getting up there, and we're going to get into those here in a second. And just more about the reefs. These 3 caves, if you will, are big outcrops. They start off large and get narrow as they go back, and the sharks like to cuddle up back in the back corner. And on March 15th is the projected date that Dave and crew will start heading up there. And to be a diver, to go up there, you're going to have to be an advanced diver. You're going to have to be in good shape. You're going to have to be approved by Aldora Divers to go up there, which means pretty much you're going to have to dive with them all week. They're going to take you out and take you down to southern reefs and evaluate you as they do, and make sure you're good. You'll have to be a nitrox certified diver, because these I think the shallowest one, Dave, I think told me, is at 80 feet. So just to get your more bottom time, they're going to put you on the 120s on nitrox and at 36%, and that way you just have more time, because they're only going to take 4 divers out to these sites at a time, and they're going to take 2 DMs with them, put everybody in the water, go to the cave, excuse me, and once they get to the cave, only one dive master will go in, look to see if there's a shark in there, and if there is a shark, then he'll come back and take the divers in one at a time, and no divers will be allowed to get any closer to the sharks than the dive master does. There will be no videos and no cameras, still cameras allowed, and it's all about conservation, really. There used to be a shark cave or shark caves up at Isla Mujeres, and it was not conserved well. And what happened was they ran the sharks off, and it really could be, these could be those sharks, because Dave said this is pretty much about halfway to Puerto Morelos. So these dive sites are in open water. It gets choppy out there. The currents can get crazy out there. So again, you're gonna have to be an advanced diver. You're gonna have to be approved by these guys, and safety is paramount. In fact, every diver will be equipped with a Nautilus underwater radio with GPS transmissions and be able to be tracked on the boat. With the boat, will have redundant GPS radios, and if you get in a major emergency, these GPS radios, when you put them in emergency mode, the Mexican Coast Guard will get out there with that badass looking boat of theirs and come out and pick you up. So safety is just everything. Everybody's going to have a sausage. You're going to have to be able to show that you can deploy that sausage properly, and Aldora Divers since 1992 has never lost a diver, and they're not planning on doing one yet. So it's just a really good deal that they're really observing all the safety rules that they should. And like I've said from the beginning, my hope is that these dive sites will be opened up to everybody, and eventually Dave is working with park officials to try to manage this whole thing and make sure everything gets well. Even though this is not in the park, technically the marine park starts at the International Pier and runs south to Punta Sur, and maybe on further south from there, but for sure from the IP on down. So, but these are untouched, beautiful reefs. These 6 main dive sites, which will be more open to the casual diver, from what I understand. They're, the currents are better there. They're not really ripping like they are at Barracuda, or even up here at the Sleeping Shark Caves. And if you're a lionfish hunter, of course, we have not been up there, so the lionfish are big and plentiful. So we need to get up there and let's have a lionfish hunt up on the northern reefs. Let's get in on that. So, and the reefs themselves are just covered with just the most beautiful corals and the most beautiful sponges and everything that we've seen on the island, because again, they're untouched. They haven't been stressed out as much as the reefs that we're on, and we do stress out the reefs by actually getting on them. So this gives us a chance to give those reefs a little bit of a rest. So we'll see how all that goes starting on March 15th. If you're an Aldora diver, you're thinking about becoming an Aldora diver, man, book that trip and get in on the Sleeping Shark Caves and some of these other caves, or some of the other dives on the northwest end of the island. So there you go. There's the Polar Express story. And if you, like I said, if you hadn't listened to the first part of it, go to the blog and search for it, Polar Express Part 1, and really go into a little bit more detail about the 6 named dives other than the Sleeping Shark dives. And, if you haven't liked us yet on Facebook, for crying out loud, what is the matter with you? Get over there and do that. Follow this blog and subscribe to the YouTube channel so we can all stay connected and get together. This is Sharky for the Shark Tank Radio Show. I will see you next time. Adios, amigos.
Cozumel.